If you're running ads, there's a good chance that in the last few months you have had things go kind of wrong. Maybe you were running a campaign that was working pretty well and all of a sudden it stopped working pretty well. Or maybe you launched a new campaign that you thought would work pretty well and it went badly. And if you're running ads, you might have also heard about this kind of mysterious thing called Meta Andromeda, some galaxy-sized update that apparently had a huge impact. To hear the marketing internet tell it, just totally wrecked all meta advertising forever. So in today's video, I'm going to break it down. First of all, is Meta Andromeda ruining your ads? Secondly, what actually is Andromeda? What even does it mean? And then third, if it is ruining your ads, if your ads have declined over the last few months, what can you do to make them better again? So if you've heard the word Andromeda and you've kind of freaked out, this video is for you. Stick around. Let's get into it. So I actually want to start by unpacking what Meta Andromeda is, because that will really frame our whole conversation. So there is a lot of confusion about what it is, and that is understandable because if you go and read Meta's documentation about it, it is filled with words that I do not honestly understand, and I feel like the people who are writing the words probably did not understand. But there is a lot of technical language and a lot of just honestly marketing speak that probably doesn't even mean anything. So I think that contributes to the confusion with Andromeda. And then secondly, like the platform just is complicated, so it is just hard to understand some of how these things work. But based on what we do know, Meta Andromeda is an ad retrieval system, and so the role that Andromeda itself actually plays is filtering millions and millions of ads into a pool of like thousands of ads to potentially show to users who are on Facebook and Instagram and Meta-owned platforms. So it's not like the whole algorithm, it's not the thing that actually shows the ad to the person at the time. John Loomer gives this good analogy where it is like a librarian who, when you go into a library, narrows down this list of all these titles in the library to like 100 books that you might be interested in. That is the role that it's playing. It's a retrieval system that's collecting thousands of top ads for users, but it's just a part of a bigger system. And if you look through Meta's documentation, part of the system also involves something called Meta Gem, G-E-M, which I'm not even going to get into it and don't fully understand it, and also Meta Lattice. These are things that are not getting hyped as much as Andromeda, but they're all part of this overall movement toward AI-assisted delivery, increased machine learning in the algorithms, basically the ways that they are serving ads to users. So Andromeda has kind of become a catch-all phrase for the way that Meta is leaning into these sorts of things. And the reason that Meta is changing all this stuff is because there is a problem of volume. There are just more and more ads on the platform, partly because people are creating all of these AI-generated assets, partly because Meta is pushing things this way themselves. And so the old systems that were doing the ad serving were no longer able to do it well because of the sheer volume of ads. So that is why Andromeda exists and why they're updating all these algorithms. It's because they just have more ads on the platform and they need a way to better show them to users. Okay, so let's get back to you. So if you had an ad campaign that kind of failed over the last few months or has failed recently, and I've talked to a few artists where this has been the case, where 4 or 5 months ago things were going awesome and then their most recent campaigns have been terrible, and we can't really see anything that has changed from campaign to campaign, and so blame it on Andromeda. Now, if your ads have suffered, there's a chance that it's Andromeda, but to be honest, there's really no way to know for sure. Andromeda was first announced in December of 2024, and supposedly it's been rolled out over the course of the year, and so to just blame a campaign failure on Andromeda is kind of just like blaming a random bogeyman. It might be true, but also who knows? So I'm not sure it's super helpful. But here's what is helpful. More and more, it is all about making more good ads. Running a good meta ad campaign used to be about coming up with the perfect audience target and figuring out who is going to like your music, really dialing in that target, and then telling Meta to send your ad to those people. Now, more and more, running a good meta ads campaign is about coming up with really good ads that really represent your music. It's kind of funny because a lot of meta advertisers don't like this change. I was reading a Reddit thread and the conversation was like, I used to feel like I was a capable engineer and now it's moving toward this sphere of creativity where I have to come up with all these ad concepts. Now I have to be like an artist. And it made me kind of chuckle because I do advertising for artists and I'm like, well, this is probably good for all of us. And I think that is one of the encouraging takeaways. If you can really lean into the artistry and the creativity of putting together good ads that reflect your songs and speak to an audience that would be interested in your work, then you can really do well as an artist. You don't have to know the technical stuff as much anymore, but you do have to be creative. So practically, what can you do? Well, one of Meta's big buzzwords is creative diversification. And that really means two things. Number one, it means trying more ads, but also it means trying more ad topics. So rather than just uploading like 10 variants of pretty much the same ad where it's like the same video and a slightly different text, like you change one sentence or, you get the idea. It is instead doing maybe 5 to 10 different concepts of the song. So maybe one concept is similar artists of the song. Maybe another concept is this song is for you if you feel this way. Maybe another concept is I was thinking of this place when I wrote this song. You get the idea. Coming up with all these different concepts and then seeing which of the concepts best resonates with an audience and performs best in Meta. Again, Meta has all sorts of documentation on creative diversification, but the idea is you're creating more ads, more concepts. Is this more work? Yeah, kind of, but also it's like artist work versus engineer work. So it's kind of fun if you can get into it. Honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about algorithms and buzzwords like Meta Andromeda and really trying to stay on top of all the technical ins and outs of advertising. What I would worry about is making ads that really represent your music well. That's the key to running a good ad campaign. That's always been the key to good advertising. And these changes are just pushing you more and more in that direction, which I think overall is a good thing. So don't worry about the buzz. If your campaigns aren't performing, it is not proof that Meta doesn't work anymore. I'm running plenty of campaigns that are still killing it. It's not easy, but it is worth pushing into good creative and spending time on that. If you want help with that, I'll link below. I have 5 ad templates that walk through 5 different concepts you can use in your own ads. I've used these templates for a bunch of clients, dozens of clients to drive millions of streams, and they're proven to work in a lot of different genres. So I will put that in the link below to help you with your creative diversification. But as always, if you're running ads, good luck. If you're not running ads, more power to you. Wishing you good luck as you make and market your music. Andromeda or not, you got this.